With the internet comes responsibility. We all depend on it for entertainment, news, education, shopping, and more. Because of that, we've trained ourselves to be cautious. We try to protect ourselves from scams, lies, and bad information. But here's the problem: that same instinct to be cautious can sometimes backfire. It can actually make us more likely to fall for false stories. That's why misinformation spreads so fast online. When someone presents a scary, believable sounding headline, people's natural reaction is to believe it and share it. And right now, this is exactly what's happening in the gaming community around the Nintendo Switch 2. Wild rumors, big headlines, and tons of confusion. So let's talk about it. Hey friends, I'm Tonic, and this is Legend of Potato! If you love talking games, especially Nintendo, you're in the right place. If you find today's video helpful, I'd love it if you'd hit that like button, and if you want to keep up with honest, down-to-earth takes on Nintendo news, consider subscribing. It really helps the channel grow and keeps these videos coming your way. So here's what we're seeing. All across YouTube, forums, and social media, people are calling Nintendo anti-consumer over the Switch 2's End-User License Agreement, or EULA. A lot of this started with a few out-of-context screenshots and some very angry posts. From there, it snowballed. Now you've got Nintendo haters piling on, making wild claims, harassing people on social media, and trying to convince others that buying a Switch 2 means Nintendo owns your console, can take it away, or will brick it just because they feel like it. That's simply not true. But the fear caught on. And now we've got a community full of players unsure what to believe. So today I want to clear things up. I've read through the Switch 2's EULA carefully. I own the console. I've looked at what you really agree to when you turn it on. And my goal is simple. I want to explain what you actually own, what you don't own, why these rules exist, and why Nintendo is not trying to hurt players with these policies. In fact, they're protecting gamers that use the system as it's intended. When you buy a Switch 2, the physical console, the actual hardware in your hands, is yours. You own it. You can keep it, sell it, trade it. That part is simple. But the software, the system software, and the games you buy is licensed to you. You don't own the software, just permission to use it on your console. If you buy a physical game cartridge, you own the plastic, but the game data on it is still licensed by Nintendo. You can play it, trade it, or sell the cartridge, but you can't sell the game's code as your own. This is normal for gaming. It's the same for Xbox, PlayStation, and even PC games through Steam. When you buy a DVD, for instance, you own the disc. You don't own the movie itself. You're allowed to watch it, you can sell it, trade it, or lend it, but you can't take the movie and make it your own. The same idea applies here. Nintendo has to state this clearly in the EULA. Why? Because it protects their legal rights. If someone tried to steal Nintendo system software or copy their games and sell them, Nintendo could point to this license and say, no, you never owned that code, you can't do that. This isn't about punishing players, it's about protecting Nintendo's hard work and making sure people can't steal it and profit off of it. Now, some people online are acting like this is anti-consumer, that Nintendo was trying to control you or take away your rights. But that's not the case. These rules exist for 3 good reasons. Anti-theft. It stops people from stealing Nintendo software and ideas. Anti-cheat. It prevents people from hacking the system or games to cheat in online play. If Nintendo didn't block hacked consoles, online games would be full of cheaters, ruining the fun for everyone. And anti-piracy. It stops illegal downloads of games. If piracy ran wild, it would hurt the ability of developers to make new games. These protections are there to make sure honest players, the ones who buy their games and play fairly, have a safe, fun experience. And here's the most important thing I want to say. If you're a normal player, if you just buy your games, play them on your Switch 2, and follow the rules, None of this affects you in a negative way. Nintendo is not going to break your console for no reason. They're not trying to take away what you paid for. These protections only kick in if someone is actively trying to cheat, hack, or pirate games. If you aren't doing those things, and let's be honest, most of us aren't, you'll never run into these problems. In fact, these rules help protect you. They help make sure online games stay fair. They keep your downloads safe from tampered software. And they encourage a healthy game market where good developers can keep making great games for us to play. So, why do people freak out about this stuff? I think it's partly because of what I said at the start. We're all cautious online. We want to avoid getting scammed. And when someone says, Nintendo is anti consumer, and posts a scary screenshot, it's easy to panic and believe it. But if you take a breath, read the EULA, and think about what it actually says, you'll see that these rules aren't scary. They're just standard protections written in legal language to stop bad actors, not to harm everyday players. I've been using the Switch 2 since launch, and so far, it's delivering exactly what I hoped for. Strong hardware improvements, great first-party games, and broad support for full backward compatibility of the entire Switch 1 catalog, with some titles already running better thanks to improved performance and updated system features. Nintendo has a track record of supporting their consoles for 6 to 8 years, and there's no reason to think the Switch 2 will be any different. These EULA policies, while not perfect, are standard in the gaming industry and play an important role in keeping the system secure, stable, and fun for the long haul. If you take the time to understand what's actually in the EULA and what it means for everyday players, you can feel good about owning a Switch 2 and being part of this next chapter in Nintendo gaming. Now, I'm sure if you've made it this far, you might think I'm a bit of a Nintendo apologist. And yeah, I can see why you'd think that. But Nintendo is still a big corporation, and like any big company, they're going to do everything they can to shield themselves from risk. The one part of the EULA I don't like is this. Instead of being able to sue Nintendo if something goes really wrong, you have to agree to arbitration, unless you send a written letter opting out, which, let's face it, most people won't. I get why it's there. It's legal in the United States, but to me, it feels a little cowardly. I think companies should stand behind their products and be willing to make things right when a customer has been let down. Despite my problem with this clause, the reality is this kind of arbitration clause is common across the gaming industry. Almost every major platform and publisher includes it. So, it wouldn't be fair to single out Nintendo here, but since this video is about their EULA, it's worth pointing out. That said, it's one of those things to be aware of as a consumer. And that brings me to my final thought. Always be cautious online, but also be thoughtful. Don't share scary headlines without checking the facts. If you love Nintendo, or gaming in general, let's help build a community that stays informed and positive. The Switch 2 is an awesome console, and I can't wait to see what the next few years bring for all of us. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this and found it helpful, hit that like button and subscribe for more honest Nintendo talk. See you next time.